Prosperous protection system for large gatherings of people in religious sites. This video introduces evacuation procedure. A properly conducted evacuation is one of the most important actions to limit the consequences of a terrorist event. The basis of an evacuation should be the plans and procedures developed for the facility and tailored to the potential threats. This animation only illustrates a general scheme of action in the event of one of the many threats being suspected, and each situation will be different depending on a number of factors. A proper evacuation process should consist of the following steps, consisting of the 4C procedure: confirm, clear, communicate, control. If someone reports to you that they have found an unusual object, treat this with due seriousness and immediately try to confirm if the object could potentially be a hazardous item. In order to correctly classify an item as a potential risk, adequate training, preparation, and knowledge of the procedures are required. Hidden. Whether the item is hidden and whether it looks as if someone has deliberately hidden or placed it there so that it cannot be found. Obviously suspicious. Does the circumstance and object have the characteristics of a hazardous object, such as anything that should not be in a particular place, leftover objects, suitcases, backpacks, bags, barrels, containers, etc. Anything which cannot be explained by its presence, anything that is not in its place, objects attracting attention by their external features, eye-catching, inviting to be picked up, military origin ammunition and devices, military, commercial or homemade explosives, fragmentation, items containing mechanical or electronical mechanisms and devices, wireless devices wired or combined to other items, radios, mobile phones, etc., protruding electric wires, switches, power source, batteries, etc., attached clocks, mechanical, electronic, antennas, container with chemicals, chemical products, unusual odor, incompatible with the environment, sharp, objects leaking an unknown substance, emitting smoke, emitting sounds, ticking, hissing, etc. But remember that a hazardous item will not always have external recognition features, so always take appropriate precautions. Typical. If an object may be typical as people bring backpacks to this location, if the object shows no signs of being a dangerous object, try to question people in the immediate vicinity if they own the object or know its origin. If possible, verify the owner and his behavior through the CCTV system. If you have confirmed that the item may pose a danger, then do not touch it. Take charge and move people away to a safe distance. Even for a small item such as a briefcase, move at least 100 meters away from the item, starting from the center and moving out. Emergency may recommend at least 200 meters distance for a car-sized explosive threat and 400 meters for a truck-sized explosive threat. Think about what you can hide behind. Pick something substantial and keep away from glass such as windows and skylights. Cordon off the area. If possible, designate people to keep bystanders out of potential danger. Keep yourself and other people out of line of sight of the item. It is a broad rule, but generally if you cannot see the item, then you are better protected from it. If possible, perform pre-evacuation measures. Pre-evacuation actions involve as many personnel as possible in the organization of the evacuation. Check evacuation routes for safety, in particular for secondary device. Quick look for suspicious indicators, choking points, corridors, passageways or exits, rubbish bins, flower pots, permeability of escape routes, permeability of emergency exits. If possible, check the alternative safe place outside the facility located in a safe distance. Bear in mind that during a terrorist attack, designated assembly points can be used as the main attack site. Therefore, consider designating an alternative escape route and order the evacuation, the escape of people from the threatened place. If needed, specify a safe place outside the facility located in a safe distance. If possible, check fire roads or access routes for public services. If needed, direct people to safe place according to the evacuation plan for this type of hazard. Carry out the whole process efficiently, as any delay in the evacuation process may result in additional casualties. Announce the evacuation to worshippers and indicate evacuation directions. Do this in a manner that does not cause panic. When reasonable to assume the attack or threat is credible, and when evacuation will move people towards a place of greater safety, direct everyone to evacuate to their nearest exit and disperse. In some cases, this may be required requested or directed by police. Different types of evacuation are possible, including full, partial, or directional evacuation, dependent on the situation. In this particular case, due to the placement of the backpack at the main entrance, a directional evacuation is necessary. Directional evacuation: choose when a specific area is or is likely to become dangerous, or an alternative route would cause people to pass through or near the area of threat. Directing people to evacuate to a specified exit may increase overall evacuation time but could improve safety. Inform the relevant security services as soon as possible. Include the most important information in your message so that the services arriving on the scene are well aware of the situation and the appropriate specialist units are directed to the site. You can use the ethane report template to do this. Remember not to communicate by mobile phone or radio due to the fact that some explosives are initiated by radio waves. Keep a minimum distance of 15 meters. The public should not be able to approach the area until it is considered safe. Try and keep eyewitnesses nearby so they can tell the emergency services what they saw. Try to get contact details before witnesses move away. Implementing a full, partial, or zonal evacuation in response to a terrorist or extremist threat is very challenging and can only be effective if adequate planning, training, and rehearsal have been undertaken. The following principles should be applied and adapted to the particular design, layout, and infrastructure of the place of worship or event. Bear in mind that an evacuation in response to a terrorist or extremist threat or attack will need to be different to a fire evacuation. Don't use certain fire exits close to the threat or attack. Disperse, don't assemble. Don't use a fire alarm. A different emergency evacuation plan for staff, volunteers, and worshippers with disabilities, etc.